All right, there you go. So welcome everybody to our live stream for our speaker series, STEMI Interns. I'm going to hand it over to our host today, Tejasvi. Tejasvi, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Miss Andrea. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Joshua Guttini. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I am currently an undergraduate student at Texas A&M University. And I've been with STEMI for a year now, and it's been a splendid experience. Today, I will be your host, and thank you so much again for joining. Thank you to the audience and also to the panelists and Miss Andrea for making this possible. So we'll go ahead and get started with the panel introductions. So hi panel, can you each one of you please go ahead and tell us your name, which grade you're in, what city you're from, and your STEMI roles, and as well how long have you been with STEMI. So I'll go ahead and call on each one of you so that it's just a bit easier. And we'll go ahead and get started with Irina.
Hi, my name is Irina. I am currently a high school senior. I am interested in architectural engineering. I come from Foley, Alabama. And I am in multiple roles in STEMI, which include being a tutor manager, an intern manager, a marketing manager, and many more that I will further go into. And I've been with STEMI for about a year and 2 months now. I started in June, and it's been a great experience for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Irina, for joining us. Next, Archisha, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm Archisha. I'm in 8th grade. I'm near Raleigh, North Carolina. I have multiple STEMI roles as well. I'm like a team lead manager. I'm a team lead, and I have multiple roles in the tutor team and also the magazine blog. Um, I'm I don't know. I've been in STEMI for about a year.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we'll go ahead with Raga.
I'm Raga. I'm in 12th grade. I'll be applying to colleges. I'm from Edison, New Jersey, and I have a few roles at STEMI as well. Mostly volunteer coordinator, or now called onboarding coordinator.
Okay.
Team
Hold
leader.
the change.
Yeah. I'm team lead of the onboarding coordinator team, intern manager, as well as team lead manager and ambassador. So mostly in the HR side, I would say. And I've been with STEMI, I think I joined 2.5 years ago about. I joined in May in 2022.
Thank you so much, Raga, and good luck with your college applications. Next, I believe we have Isha.
Yes. Hi, my name is Isha. I'm a student at Ways. I'm in 9th grade. Um, I've been in STEMI for 2 years, and I'm from Houston, Texas. And I'm part of the blog and magazine team.
Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you here. And thank you guys again for everyone introducing yourself. We're really excited to have you. And now I'll just jump straight into the questions. And if the audience member do have any questions, please feel free to ask as well through the chat, or you can also unmute yourself and also go ahead and raise your hand as well. Okay, so my first question for the panelists is, how did you get involved with STEMI? Tell us about your journey.
I guess I can start. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
So I think I was at the end of my freshman year, or towards the end of freshman year. Yeah, towards the end of freshman year, and I really wanted to do something in my free time. I come from a more competitive high school, and a lot of people around me and students around me, they get involved a lot. They're very proactive, and so I felt that I also, wanted to kind of get more involved. I knew that I was interested in STEM. I'm very interested in architecture at that point. But I wanted to get more involved with STEM, and I couldn't really find a lot of architecture opportunities near me or virtually. So I kind of did a Google search about STEM volunteer opportunities or STEM internship opportunities, and I found STEM E, and I was able to kind of sign up, get interviewed, and yeah, and there I was. I did quite a few roles going into it, ones that I've left after a few months and ones that I've stuck to even now. For example, I joined as a volunteer coordinator and ambassador. I think those were my main two roles when I first started out, and I'm still here within those roles and team leads of those roles.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Karina, would you like to answer as well?
Yes, so I started at STEMI because I really just needed volunteer hours for my school, but I decided to stick with it. Best decision for me and my future careers. I started STEMI as a tutor and a tutor manager. I'm no longer a tutor, but I was a tutor for a year, and it was a great, enjoyable experience for me. But then as I came into STEMI, I started branching out to more and different roles. I've become team lead of about 4 different teams, and I've just enjoyed it quite a bit. And it's one of the best experiences I have had in my volunteering career.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and with the next question. What skills or knowledge have you gained throughout your journey with STEM?
Um, I've learned quite a lot. I'd say going into STEMI, I was more introverted. I just moved to a new town. I was having trouble making friends, wasn't very extroverted, and I wasn't very confident as well. So going into STEMI, I was kind of, a little nervous, definitely, trying to talk during these meetings and everything. But as the meetings went on and as I got more involved, a big thing about STEMI you'll learn as you go through the experience is really taking all the opportunities that you get, always being proactive and making sure that you kind of volunteer for it and know what you're interested in. And so with that guidance, and I remember there was one time where um, they needed another admin on Discord. I think that was like one of the more memorable moments where I really tried to be proactive and take the opportunity and reach out to the person involved to get me trained. Um, so I think as that happened and as I repeated and trying to introduce my own ideas, I was able to increase my confidence as well as my communication skills. And I think that's a really great skill to learn and just interacting with people in general.
I want to say that I can completely relate to Raga on this one. Um, I was not very extroverted at the beginning either, especially when it came to having to talk in meetings or email parents for tutoring. Um, but then as I became more accompanied with everyone at the company, I started to get closer to all of them, and it became really fun to kind of join the meetings and discuss things. I added a lot to the company, and I love sharing ideas. Before, I would usually keep things to myself if I had an idea, but now once it pops into my head, I share it with someone just to see what they think about it. How can we improve on it? And just things like that. And it was awesome to do all that.
Yeah, I think I would also say the same. My experience in STEMI, it has made me a lot more extroverted, and I'm really grateful for all of that and all the support system I do have around me as well. And okay, we'll go ahead with the next question. Were there any challenges you encountered while interning for STEMI? And if so, how did you overcome them? Artisha or Ishan, do you guys have an answer for this? Or would you like to speak?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You can go first.
Okay. So I think one of the challenges was managing like multiple roles. So I'm making sure each one gets the attention that it needs. So like it helped me with learn about like time management and like prioritization. So I think that semi really helped me know how to like organize things better. And now I'm a really organized person.
STEMI helped me like some challenges I faced in STEMI were that they helped me write better, like write more professionally. But if by challenges, I mean like submitting blogs on time, because if I don't submit blogs by time, it's often pushed to the next month, and then I never, and it's hard to see my blogs on the STEMI website. I think that was a big challenge for me.
I completely understand that. I also kind of used to struggle with deadlines, but I think I have gotten a bit better with STEMI, but I'm still kind of trying to keep up with the deadlines as well. So that's a great challenge for me as well. Okay, next, what advice do you have for high school or school in general?
I'll go ahead and start this one. When it comes to high school, I would say to try and get assignments done as fast as possible. If you have a study hall period, definitely try and complete work in time, especially when it comes to juggling school. I found that I need to make sure I have to have my assignments done by a certain time of the day so that I am able to join the active meetings while also having attend. So when it comes to kind of control and juggling high school, I would say do your best at it, know what your limits are. Don't try and go too above and beyond because we all have limits. So I would say just try and get your understanding of where you have and your time management. Then from there on, you can as a person and it can get all better.
Definitely, I completely agree with that. Would any of the other speakers like to say anything else?
Yeah, I agree with Arena as well. Definitely time management is very important, using those study halls and kind of having a planner, even whether it's digital or if you have an actual physical planner, always keeping track of what you have to do both in school and outside of school. I would also say join as many clubs or any interests you have, because going into high school, it's really about exploring what you're interested in and understanding how you can take a certain passion to the next level. And if you want to do that in college, so definitely talk to other people, understand what they're interested in. Are you interested in the same thing? Um, Kind of learn from your teachers as well to just really, and always feel free to like explore on your own time. Like don't always feel limited to be just doing schoolwork or only be limited to the school's resources. There's definitely things where you can reach out, branch out, use the internet. There's STEMI when you join STEMI, and different other people as well. So definitely kind of building a network that you can kind of get a support system off of.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said. Like you need to stay organized, manage your time well. Maybe you want to create a schedule, like schedule everything that you need to do. So then you make sure you don't like miss out on anything that you might have uh needed to do. And then I think focus like you should focus on like um you should take advantage of the resources that you get like for anything so then you can make the best of what you have access to and then find subjects that you're like passionate about. Don't just pick something because someone tells you to do it or your friends in it. Just make sure you're passionate about it.
That is very true. I think passion is very important. If you're not really into it, it's honestly, I would say go explore other things. Maybe you'll find something better instead. So that is very important. Yeah, and I agree with what everyone else said about like the time management. That is also really, really important. It's very beneficial if you do have it settled together. And if the audience also has any other questions, please go ahead and raise your hand, unmute yourself, or also just type them in the chat. And okay, next, what do you wish you knew when you started high school?
Go ahead and start with this one. Whenever I started what I was getting into in a way. You start you're like, oh, this is quite similar to middle school. It's not a huge transition or a huge change. My high school in particular had a separate building for the freshmen. And from then, whenever I started going into more classes, because you have a huge different range of difficulty in classes compared to middle school, I started to realize, okay, I need to kind of slow down on what I'm doing. I'm taking the hardest classes while also trying to join all these different clubs. I need to kind of decide what I want to do. So I continued to take the hardest classes because it was something that I was able to do, but then I wasn't involved in many clubs that I wasn't as interested in. So, for example, I was in two different volunteering clubs, one club that I was more active in, while the other I wasn't really as active in. So I decided to drop that club because it continued to take time out of my day to attend those things. I wasn't doing too much in the club in the first place. And then also, I kind of wish I knew how important all of this would be for colleges and that I should have started volunteering from a younger age. I only started the summer before my junior year, and I've enjoyed it a ton, and I would have known that I've enjoyed it so that I would have joined early, um, to where I can put more on my application and show I've continued to enjoy volunteering.
Thank you so much, Arena. And how do you guys usually deal with stress that comes along with high school, or just like in general?
I I tried taking 5-minute breaks, like thinking about it and then trying it. Like if there's an assignment that's coming up or a project and I'm stressed about that, I try taking a 5-minute break, thinking about it, and then coming back to it.
I personally would kind of schedule times when I would be doing a certain thing or having time to myself. So like with STEMI, they all have scheduled times, which is great for me. That way I can add that to my schedule. I know that my French assignment hits, then I'll be like, okay, I will rest from the hours of 5 to 6. But then once I get to 6, I will do my French assignment and whatever other assignments I have to do before I have to go take a shower and go to sleep in order to wake up the next day. There's just a lot of scheduling that comes in for managing my own time and my stress with high school along with STEMI.
Thank you. Now for the upcoming seniors and juniors, uh, and also sophomores, where did you guys apply for college, or like where are you thinking to apply?
Um, so I would like to do architecture, and so I'm thinking of applying in the northeast coast in New Jersey area. I am from New Jersey, so I'd feel more comfortable being the same proximity of the northeast coast. So mostly around New Jersey, New York. A lot of schools in New York. Architecture is very, I feel like, central. It's very prominent in the architecture in New York area. There's a lot of schools who are accredited. So for the to get licensed as an architect, you need to receive a accredited degree. And so that for a bachelor's, that would be a BArch, which is a 5-year program. So that kind of limits my choices as well. And I found that a lot of them are either in the East Coast, Northeast New York area, or in the California area. So definitely, I've been thinking of NJIT, Syracuse, Pratt Institute, um, the SUNY Alfred campus, or the State University of New York, NYIT, which is New York Institute of Technology, and yeah, mostly in this area.
I have a similar direction to Raga. I want to go into architectural engineering, so it kind of highlights more of the engineering aspect in architecture. But due to this, I'm interested in quite of a range of colleges at the moment. We have a few in my state that I'm considering as a safety school. So, for example, Alabama or Auburn University. Then I'm also thinking about Georgia Tech, MIT, Stanford, Texas A&M, Florida, just different places that are all around the state. I would prefer to stay out of my state because I'm very interested in traveling and exploring different places. I've been to a lot of places outside of the US, but not as many inside the US. So it's really exciting to just try and see different places that I may never have seen before, since the US is so culturally different depending on where you go. So I'm definitely interested in going to really anywhere, but architectural engineering is my desired goal for my career.
Awesome, thank you. Those are very interesting majors, and I hope you guys do get into wherever you guys want to go. But also, what kind of advice do you have for college applications?
Number one thing for my is start early. I made start early, and I only really started doing things this past summer, which included getting a list together of what colleges I wanted to attend, starting my Common App um, profile, and ensuring that that will be ready, even though right now it's not completely ready because I kept putting it off since I was working this summer. Um, get recommendation letters from teachers and send these requests to them the summer before you start applying, and then start applying early. So once applications open for any college that you want to go to, start applying, start writing your essays, get feedback on any essays that you've got, things like that. Just don't hold off. Start as early as possible. You don't need to start as early as your freshman year. I would say start thinking about it sophomore year, compile a list of places you want to go and teachers you want to get recommendations from during your junior year. Then the summer after junior year, go ahead and send out those requests. Make sure your Common App profile is completely created and ready. And then start looking for scholarships as early as your freshman year. And I think at that point, you should be good and ready for when college applications do open up.
Oh, go ahead, Rar.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely I do agree with what Irina said. I'd also recommend kind of sending out those requests like towards the end of your junior year. It's not like when school is ending, but maybe in May, like during after AP season. Depends on when your school ends. At least at my school counselors, they require you to send out your teacher requests in the month of May. Um, so depending on whatever your school does, definitely reach out to your school counselors and college counselors as well. They're always there to help you. Sometimes your college counselors may have like Q&A sessions or workshops over the summer. Definitely attend those because those are very helpful. They help you kind of de-stress about it, just understand what the process is all about and avoid you from becoming overwhelmed when you're actually trying to do your Common App and your college essay. Also, with your college essay, definitely get started on that early because it can take a lot of time for you to figure out what you want to write about. Because it's mostly telling your journey as a student, and what you plan to do in college. Because of what the colleges are looking for is what would make you a good candidate, or how can you succeed with our resources, or mostly just understanding what you're passionate about. So definitely get started on that early, maybe towards the end of junior year or definitely over the summer. But I think that's the advice I have.
Thank you guys so much. Next, we'll go on to test taking. And what advice do you have for like taking tests just like normally in high school or like standardized tests?
I'll go ahead and talk about this one. Some things that I saw when it came to the ACT, for example, it's one of the exams that you take mainly in the South. Whenever you're taking that exam, don't worry too much on trying to do it the mathematical way or do it the English way and trying to like, okay, what would be the correct answer? Instead, look at your answer choices and be like, oh, well, it can't be this one, can't be that one. I doubt it's this one, so it has to be this one, and move on. Speed is one of the most important things in these exams, and it's one of the main reasons that students mess up in the exam and don't get the score that they've been wanting. It's because they run out of time. When instead, what they need to be doing is looking at the question, deducing what cannot be the answer, and then deciding on what should be the answer. And moving on to the next question. If a question stumps you, star it, choose what you think the answer should be, and move on. If you have time, you can go back. But definitely think about speed and finding ways on how the exams are trying to trick you. I heard from somewhere that on the SAT, if a word or if the answer has the word being in it, it's 99% of the time not the correct answer. So just try and learn different testing strategies on how to test better rather than trying to understand the information that you may not have even learned yet. And then another thing, don't try and start testing too early. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I need to get that perfect score as early as possible. The only problem with that is that you have not learned the information yet. And if you haven't learned the information yet, you can't really get that score that you want. I've had friends that took the ACT in their middle school years and they didn't get the ACT score they wanted, but they took it much later and they did get the ACT score they wanted. And they've said that there's been no correlation in taking it early versus not. I did not take it early and I got the ACT score that I did want. So just think about that and don't try and rush into things with the ACT too much, but also during those exams, try and rush from question to question by deducing what the correct answer should be rather than looking at the question, thinking of what it is, and finding the matching answer.
Go ahead, Raga.
Right. But yeah, definitely I do agree with Arena. Timing is very important. Yeah, timing is very important. I would also say I agree that you shouldn't start early, not as early as middle school, but definitely try to do it the summer before your junior year or start thinking about it then because it'll just be easier going into junior year because you don't have to stress about it. You already got your score. You can just simply put it on the Common App and move on. So definitely probably at the end of your sophomore year, start thinking about it. And so in junior year, you can really focus on those tests because you'll also find the PSAT then. And if you get a really good score, around the perfect score, I think, you can qualify for the National Merit Scholarship. And that can be, or be a finalist or a semi-finalist. And even putting that down can be a great thing on your college profile. And so definitely start understanding, take practice tests. That's important. Don't try to study the week before. To kind of plan ahead, get a month schedule or a 2-month schedule so you know exactly what concepts are on it. There's a lot of resources on YouTube and Google that you can search up for and get lists of all the concepts that you need to know, and you can just tick it off. Use Khan Academy. That's very helpful. Has videos, but the practice questions are really helpful on there as well.
So thank you guys so much. Artisha or Isha, do you guys have any methods like you recommend not to use for studying? Like, do you have any big no-nos for like when you're that you like try to like stay away from when you're studying?
Don't study like the day like the day before the test or just the class before a test. Like study like 2 days before or 3 days before if they say that during that day. Or whenever they say it, start studying. Like if your teacher says, hey, we're having a test on Friday, start preparing on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, I think those are good tips. I have like multiple things. Like, first of all, you shouldn't multitask. Like, when you should be focused on what you're doing. Like, when you're studying, like, don't check your phone or watch TV. Just focus on that, and you'll be able to learn everything better. Or cramming, like you said, like, don't study the night before, and don't ignore breaks. Like, just because you're working of like 5 hours in a row does not mean that you're getting stuff done. I think breaks are good and helpful, and also don't procrastinate or overload.
Thank you guys. That is definitely about like, don't always overload yourself with stuff because you're gonna burn out in the end. So thank you guys so much for answering those questions. I do know that Arena and Raga mentioned earlier that they wanted to go into architecture, engineering, and architecture. Isha and Archisha, what are you guys looking into to do in the future? And how did you figure out what you wanted to do?
I think I'm going maybe into like business. Like, I'm not sure exactly yet, but I like business because you have like lots of creativity with that, and you can pick what you want to do.
I want to go into forensic science. I was researching about genetics to find out what I'd like to do, and then I came across forensic science, and I've been really interested in that.
Sounds so cool. I like how we have like a different, a sprinkle of every field and not just like the generic computer science as well. So it's like kind of nice to see different interests. And what would you guys recommend for students who are struggling to decide?
I would say, oh, I would say just take your time, think about it. There's no rush to know exactly what you want to do right now. Just take your time and think about it.
I think exploring different things is better because if you don't know what, like if you don't have anything that you're doing, then you should probably be exploring and trying different things. If you don't like it, then you don't have to do that. But if you do like it, then you can like expand on that and consider what your skills and your strengths are. Like what are you trying to do? What's your goal like in the future? That can also help you figure out what you want to do.
I completely agree with both of them. I further by saying, whenever you are looking at multiple different options for you and you find those few things that interest you the most, you need to explore specifically those. So for example, you can start off looking at a career in writing or engineering, the sciences, or as a historian. And then if you find out, I'm not very big into history, I like history, but I don't like that too much, then you don't have to focus on that. You can go look at the other, and you just continue to kind of narrow it down to something that you enjoy the most. I know, for example, I say now architecture engineering, but way back in the back, I wanted to be an orthodontist, which is quite different from um and what I eventually thought is that, well, I was more interested in engineering than I was in dentistry. So I started looking more into engineering, and then I found out, oh, I'm really interested in civil engineering. I'm not so interested in engineering that I like to different types of concrete or the different ways of stability, things like that. So I looked more into it and found architecture. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really enjoy different types of things, designs, things like that. But I'm not a huge artist. I don't like drawing too much, and I'm not great at coming up with new ideas for building. So that's when I discovered architectural engineering. Was like what I math and kind of like, along with the building portion of the designs that I can also incorporate. So that's kind of how I came to my conclusion of what to do.
Definitely, I do agree. Um, yeah, just exploring. I would also recommend trying to reach out to professionals in the field that you're interested in and just kind of ask them if you can shadow them for a day or interview them or just ask them a few questions you have about the field. You'll find people that are more than happy to help you about their field. so they're very supportive and always kind of attend certain events or club events or networking events where you'll meet people and understand what a person in the field that you're interested in actually does in their workday. It can be very different from researching what you're interested in and actually working in that field. There's certain things that are that you'll find that are more directed towards the working industry or actually working in the field than what you'll find in classes or in college curriculum. I know that at least in architecture, what I've heard is that architecture school really prepares you for creating concepts and designs, but when you go into the real world or the corporate world, you'll find that it's a lot more practical. You'll find client communications can be a little difficult. So it's really interesting to actually shadow a person and ask them questions about it. So definitely try to reach out. If you have family members in the field, kind of ask them if they can get you connected, ask them if you have any questions. So always also use your resources.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That was great. And just a few more questions. I know we're about to end soon. But who do you guys admire and why?
Okay, so with admiring, it kind of comes to a generic kind of response. I admire my mom the most. We have completely different wants and what we wanted to do in college, which I think is quite funny, but I admire her the most since she kind of takes on a lot of things and came to us with about $53 in her pocket, and she was trying to kind of start a life for herself. Then she had me and she was juggling all these different things. So I really aspire to kind of be like her, being able to do so much for her family and things like that, that kind of had an influence on me on wanting to do so much for my community, which is, I guess, why I love volunteering so much and why it makes me happy to help others.
No, that's great. Thank you. Would any of the other speakers like to answer? Okay, if not, that is okay. And also, audience, if you guys do have any questions, please go ahead and let us know in the chat or unmute yourself. Feel free. Okay, and next, what was the best advice someone gave you? Excuse me.
Okay, so the best advice someone gave me is to not worry about what others think too much and to kind of just focus on yourself, on bettering yourself, finding ways that you can be happy, be interested, be active. Don't worry too much about making others extremely happy, but rather on making you feel like you are accomplished, like you are where you're supposed to be, um, rather than having other people kind of come in and tell you what to be.
Awesome, thank you. We also have a question in the chat. How did you know what leadership role to take in STEM?
I think I knew because I looked at the different roles and I figured out what I was interested in. So I think I started as a tutor. So because I was originally interested in tutoring, and then I branched out because I learned that there were different teams, which I didn't really know before. But it really depends on what you're interested in because STEMI has lots of different options. So you can probably find something that you like and are willing to spend your time on.
I just really liked writing a lot, and I wanted to find a place where I could write and improve writing.
I have a very similar story to Archisha in this one. I kind of did too about STEM training, and what I did was just join in as a tutor, which was originally what I wanted to be. But then during my interview process, I heard about being a tutor manager. So I was like, why not? I enjoy having a managerial role. And so I became both a tutor and tutor manager. But soon the intern managers were looking for interns to join their team. So I decided, why not? And I joined their team and became a team lead of that team. And then I just kept hearing about more and different teams that really interested me because they took on quite a managerial role. And it's something that I love doing, where I share ideas, I hear ideas, we discuss anything that could be in conflict, we discuss what could be better. So it really just kind of happened in a way where I joined in as the first thing that I wanted to be, which was a tutor to gain service hours for my school. And then eventually I saw all these different things. It was like a door opened up for me, and I found different paths and avenues that I could take, and I just went to explore them. And now here I am.
Definitely, yeah. My path is also pretty similar to Arena, about exploring and taking the opportunity when new teams open up. Um, I joined in a few roles, I think, when I first joined STEMI, including ambassador, volunteer coordinator, tutor, tutor manager, and mentor manager. So a lot of them were managerial roles, and that's because I went into this internship wanting to increase my communication skills and improve the way I work with other people and in teams. The skills you learn at STEMI regarding project management and communicating with others and leading a project is so valuable, because it really helps you in the long term just organize yourself and help you execute projects that you want to do. So going into this, I really wanted to improve my skills on that field. Um, but there was a lot of like experimentation, just understanding what I like for tutor, tutor manager, mentor manager, I kind of dropped along the way, um, either because I wasn't as interested in it or I felt that, the team was, yeah, mostly it was because I wasn't really interested as much or I had multiple um, other activities or commitments that I had to do. And then similar to Arena, there was an intern manager opening up and I took it, became a team lead as well, and team lead manager. So it's been really interesting to learn how a team gets formed and also to make sure what happens kind of in the higher ups or trying to understand what actually, sorry, losing my train of thought, but mostly about just auditing management. I think that was something I was very interested in. I also did a externship with a construction company this summer, and so that was also really interesting to learn because I felt that I saw a lot of things at STEM-E that were at that company and their organization systems, but if at the company it was like much more to the extreme because there were many people, a lot of different trades. But it was really nice for me to see that what I've learned is actually, here and in a real or in another example in the corporate world. So that was really interesting as well. But really a lot of exploration, just seeing what kind of catches your eye, even if it's just the title, and understanding, what the role does and if there's any other roles that you're interested in.
I wanted to agree with Raga on STEMI being so similar to other companies. I also had an internship this summer with a utilities company where I was a can't remember the title at the moment, but it was, engineering technician. There we go. I was an engineering technician at a utilities company, and in this role, I was allowed to attend many different types of meetings. And I thought it was so cool to attend a meeting and to be like, oh my gosh, this is so similar to what I've been doing at STEME, where it'll be a meeting among different managers of their respective divisions in the utilities company, and they'll each discuss problems, they'll talk about things, they all have a great relationship with each other, or it'll be a meeting among the utility company along with another company in order to create a new building that they were working on. And I got to kind of associate all of this with things that STEMI does. So I definitely think STEMI is great in helping you figure out how a company continues, how it's formed, created, different roles that it has inside the company, how meetings proceed, things like that. And I really thought that was pretty cool.
That was great. Thank you guys so much. It's been a great panel, and I think we are running out of time, unfortunately. So I think this is where we will stop. Thank you guys for speaking today and joining everyone. And I hope you guys have a great day.